Hello everyone. As you know, in the last class we discussed a data set on regarding the survival of passengers on board the Titanic ship, and we did a pretty fun interactive class activity where we were actually looking at these key questions and exploring and visualizing the data using Tableau to answer some of these. It's great. A lot of you wrote to me, and a lot of questions were regarding the last question, which is related to the survival rate, where we are actually comparing the rate of survival within different classes and genders to validate our hypothesis whether females indeed survived more than males in general, or was that affected by the class of travel for those passengers. So let's get started. I want to walk you through my way of thinking in this. I'm going to open my Tableau sheet here, and so basically this is our data. What I will do is I will add a new sheet by clicking here. Okay, and this is a plain clean sheet to get started with. So let's this is how I would go about it, and I'm going to show you two different ways of doing it. I will look at bar charts first, and I'm going to look at pie charts after that. So the key question is, we are looking at survival rate, but the first thing that we need to do is we are working with the number of passengers. So what I'll do is I'll double click on the number of records. Now this bar here, if I highlight it, if I move my cursor over it, I can see that the number of records are 891. That is the total number of passengers we have in our analysis. Okay, now what I want to see is that how many out of these survived. To before I go into details of looking at survival by different categories, I just want to form some understanding of the survival in general. So what I did is I dropped survival in color, and automatically I see that my bar got divided into two colors, where it says that survived, which is equal to variable value 1, is 342 passengers, and those who did not survive are 549 in number. Okay, now this is not very helpful in terms of memorizing the numbers. So what I will do is I'll go to analysis and say percentage of table, and also switch on the labels. Now this says that 38% of the total passengers survived and 61.62% of the passengers did not survive. Now let's start breaking up this by different dimensions, the key dimensions that we are interested in. So the first thing that I want to be looking at is whether gender, what role gender plays in survival. So what I did is I'll copy this sex variable and put it in the columns, and automatically my bar got divided into two halves. One is representing females and the other one is representing males. But what's really happening is that the percentages highlighted on this chart are still the percentages of the total number of passengers, whereas in order to make a easy comparison, I want to know the survival rate within the female passengers only. So in order to do that, I'll again go to the analysis and say percentage of, instead of table, I will say percentage of cell. And after saying that, you will see that the females are 74% of the females survived, whereas only 18% of the males survived. Now the next question that we want to answer is that whether how did this survival rate move by adding class into the picture. So I will get the p class variable and I'll add it as one of the other columns. Here automatically, now you see within females I have 1, 2, 3 passenger classes to compare across. So I can say that 96%, 96.81% of the females survived in class 1, whereas 92% of the females survived in class 2, and only 50% females survived in class 3. So while gender overall had more survival rate than females had more survival rate than males, class did play a big role in deciding which passengers survived. Okay, so this is a bar chart view. Now if you remember in class I had said that by adding a pie chart we could get some understanding of the total number of passengers within a specific category that we are looking at. So right now each of these bars are equally sized, and the color is just showing us survival rate within the bar itself. So let's try exploring another chart for this, and this time I will look at pie chart, and I'm going to walk you through my thinking process and how I actually came up with the pie chart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open another tab right here. This is a clean plain sheet that we are starting with, and I will start by some of the same steps by double clicking on number of records, by adding survival in the color, and then this bar chart that I have, I will convert that into a pie chart. And I will switch on the labels, to see what is it that I'm seeing. Now this is again numbers, and I want to convert that into a percentage. So I'm going to say percentage of the table, and you will see this is our starting point. Now this doesn't show anything about gender and class, so I will start adding those into the mix. So the first thing I did is similar to what I did in the bar chart. I would add the sex variable in the column, and automatically my pie charts got replicated, one representing the females and the other one representing the males. So the numbers here right now are not very insightful, because what they are showing us is the percentages as of the total number of passengers, but we want to be seeing the proportion of females who have survived. So we will go to our analysis again, convert this percentage of numbers from table to cell again, and this is now more representative because it's saying that 74% of the females survived, whereas only 18.89% of the males survived. So there's a big difference in survival by gender. Now I want to replicate this for class. I'm going to add the class variable into the rows, and just to make it visually a little bit better, that's a personal preference, but what I did is I just moved the P class into columns and the gender in the rows. Now what you can see is that basically every pie is representing the percentages of survival within that specific category. And at this point the pie chart is very similar to the bar chart that we have. You can even compare the numbers. The females for class 1 is 96.8%, and similarly I have same numbers which are shown in this pie chart as well. But remember, the real benefit of adding a pie chart was to take advantage of the fact that the size of the pie itself can represent a third dimension which is not currently being seen. So how do we take care of that? In order to do that, you will see the circle here, which is basically the size uh, of the pies, and you can go in and make some changes in there. So how will you do that? I'm going to show you right now. I will click on the drop down menu, and I will say edit table calculation. In the edit table calculation, I want the size to be represented as the percentage of total, not across the cell but across the table. I'm going to say table here, apply, and OK. Now, this is exactly what I wanted, that even though the percentages itself are showing survival rate within a specific category, the size of the pie represents the total number proportion of passengers who were traveling in that category. Okay, so the smallest pie is basically the passenger class 2 females, which only made a total of about 7.86% plus about 0.67% of the total females of the total passengers. So now the pie chart size is the size of the pies are basically telling us something extra which we did not see before. So this pie, which is the largest in size, is telling us that the highest number of passengers were traveling in the third class as compared to third class males, which we sort of already know. So this is just to show you guys how is it that I came up with my charts, and what is really the structured thinking approach which has got me to this level. So I'll talk to you more about it in the class. Thank you.